I might be feeling a bit intimidated as a small local business owner, thinking, well, what's my part in that? Can I actually? Is this just too big for me? I think that's a bit of a probably a mental barrier. Are we actually in the game here?
You are. SMEs are actually our biggest focus. The guys we want to get in
Mm.
front of these project owners are the SMEs and the small businesses in the local area.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Military Mindset for Business podcast. We're the podcast for the veteran business community. Super excited today to have a chat with Camille Thompson from the Industry Capability Network for one core reason. Part of the big function and the reason for the veteran business community even to exist is to create opportunities and fight for opportunities for the veteran business community, for veteran business owners. And one of the great ways that we can do that is to link the right partnerships with the right people. And ICN Gateway is absolutely one of those partnerships. I look at veteran procurement in sort of three phases. There's consciousness, intent, and action. And we're really fighting for a consciousness around hashtag veteran owned or why people should even choose us. So that's step one. But after people even know that we're a thing, how do we get them to actually have an intent to procure? How do we even get it on the radar to be actually able to have them want us? But then ultimately, the real step that we're looking for is action. And how do we actually help our community win jobs? So the partnership that VBC and ICN has created is deliberately focused on creating opportunities for our community. And to keep it simple, together, we are going to make veteran-owned businesses more visible. Now, if you haven't heard of the Industry Capability Network or ICN or the platform called Gateway, stay tuned because we've got a really interesting session on how you can be a part of $4.57 billion of contracts that were allocated in 2024 alone, or 125 major projects, which led to over 2,500 new work packages and a total of nearly 9,000 companies winning work through this platform. Okay, so a significant player in a significant field. And today we're going to talk about how we can get your business a higher profile and be visible through Gateway by ICN. So without any more delays, it's a pleasure to introduce Camille. How are you, Camille?
I'm good, Pete. It's happy to be here to talk about how we can help all of your businesses.
Well, I've got to say, I can't wrap the team from Gateway enough, whether it be Andrew or Karen or the rest of the people there that are, when I talk about consciousness about hashtag by veteran or veteran owned initiatives, you guys get it. And the fact that you've been actively leaning forward to support us and our community is something that we are very grateful for. So just a little bit about yourself, Camille. What do you do at Gateway?
So I'm a comms and marketing manager at ICN, and so I manage how we talk about ourselves externally, and then also who we're talking to, and what kind of businesses are winning those work packages, and what they win them for, and how we can help them get better exposure, not just in the EOI and tendering process, but also in building their businesses up and getting them ready for growth and success and the next big thing.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, let me just get some naming conventions correct. The business is ICN and the
Yes.
platform is Gateway.
Yes.
Yeah, so the platform, the actual thing that you log into it, and it's a perfect name actually, because it's the gateway to connect projects and suppliers.
It is. It
Brilliant.
is the method by which you get in there.
Fantastic. So let's just sort of go back and talk broadly about ICN. How long have you guys been around for? What is ICN as a business? What kind of things do you guys do?
So ICN originated 40 years ago, which is a surprising fact to a lot of people. And it was based off a concept that came out of Norway, basically to try and link local businesses with local projects. So it was governments were looking for a way to find these businesses in order to link them. Obviously, 40 years ago, there was a lot more government-run projects and bigger external to government. That shifted, but they we started working alongside government. So we aren't government ourselves, but we work alongside them in every state and territory now. So over the 40 years, we've expanded across Australia, and we list projects for procurement on this platform gateway. So in the early days, it was what we want to say hand in hand, face to face, consultants on the ground meeting the businesses, which is still a big core of what we do now. But over time, we've progressed and we've created gateway so that businesses can show off themselves nationally beyond their local area. And then also projects across the country who are looking for people in various areas can find those businesses.
Perfect. So let's just talk about the project side of it. What kind of projects go on Gateway? And through ICN, again, talking Gateway, the platform, what
Gateway,
kind
the
of
platform.
projects would be listed on Gateway?
Pretty much anything, anyone who's looking for suppliers to fill capability gaps to create a thing. So obviously in the past, it's been a lot of construction and infrastructure work, and construction is still a big part of what we do. But other major industries that list are the energy sector, oil, gas, and now emerging the renewable energy sector, mining, rail infrastructure, and then we cascade into a whole lot of other industries like the automotive industry, and even down to people looking for tenders for gardeners for local council projects. So it really is pretty much anybody looking for anything to fill a capability gap in what they need to get done.
Got it. So just in case anyone's listening to this near their laptop, gateway.icn.org.au. That's the foundation footprint to the homepage, and then it's really projects that you're looking for to see what kind of jobs. But I've had
but you can also search for but you can also search for supply as well as projects. So the search is there for both sides of the game, if you like.
Something that we'll talk about a bit later is how that we're going to profile or raise our exposure as suppliers. Now, when we're looking at with the projects, there are some seriously big projects on there as well, like significant national pieces of infrastructure.
Yeah, there is, say, the Inland Rail project, which covers, I think, across 3 states in its entirety, Vic, New South Wales, and Queensland. That's a really big one that's been online lately. We have large solar projects, but then we range through to AUKUS pillar projects. BAE has projects listed with us over many years, so it's a long-term project that they open and shut work packages for. We'll talk about work packages in a bit. So yeah, there's really some really big long-term projects that get listed across the site, and things come in and out as those projects evolve.
So for us talking to the community of potential suppliers, why do the bigger guys put projects on ICN? Why do they go through ICN to Gateway?
Because we gather the EOIs for them. So we save a whole lot of time for the procurement specialists and the project owners in that investigative searching quoting phase. So they list the project and the businesses come to them. They don't have to sit there and work the phones. The notification systems that you set up in Gateway will notify all the businesses that match the criteria that they've listed. And all of those businesses can bid, put in an EOI, and then the procurement people back in the office get sent a grouping of those businesses. So that's the big visible part of Gateway. The other side is they might come to us for a specific job in a specific area, and our consultants on the ground, so our guys who are at the coalface, will actually be able to know the businesses that they cover and recommend a list of businesses once again to those procurement specialists. So you might not even actually put in a bid, but you'd be put ahead for work because somebody knows you and knows you can fill that gap.
Got it. So this is where Gateway, there's people behind the platform and the relationships that you can develop with your other industry advisors, industry specialists. What's that keyword you use?
Well, we call them industry consultants. So they're specialists either in your local area or in your particular sector. So they cover both things across the country.
Got it. So there is an ability to raise your profile and actually get outside of the algorithms of the platform, create an understanding with the people who are directly liaising with these big project managers for potential opportunities, again, potential outside of what's actually listed even.
Exactly. So there's a little bit of work that goes on behind the scenes where you might not even know that you've been up for something. You might not see the notification, but someone else is working on your behalf. So like a mini pitcher out there for you pitching your business. If they know about you, they'll know when something comes up that actually suits what your business can do or
Okay,
potentially
brilliant.
can do if they know you're looking to grow.
Now, when I hear of something like, the Snowy River project or Inland Rail or, a big piece of AUKUS infrastructure, which is like, and then I might be feeling a bit intimidated as a small local business owner, thinking, well, what's my part in that? Can I actually, is this just too big for me? I think that's a bit of probably a mental barrier. Tell us about opportunity that can come down to more of a local business rather than just, are we actually in the game here?
You are. SMEs are actually our biggest focus. The guys we want to get in
Mm.
front of these project owners are the SMEs and the small businesses in the local area. So these big projects come in and they say, hey, this is a massive amount of things that we do. Once again, our consultants will talk to those project owners and break it down into what we call work packages. So these are what I like to say are bite-sized pieces of the bigger project. So the project might be something big like a solar farm, but within that, they need security cameras or they need to test the electrical equipment. They need sparkies and plumbers and carpenters to do lots of bigger pieces. So you're not even a solar panel person, but there's a job within that package that you can bid for that smaller piece of it that is within your reach or within your just beyond. What we like to hope is that you're bidding for something which will bring in that to grow you to that next step in your business level. But 100%, we want the SMEs to be the ones front and center in that EOI and tendering process.
Got it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just sharing my screen here for anyone watching on YouTube, but I'll describe it for anyone on audio. We've got an example here of a solar project in the Goulburn River, which I believe is in the Snowy Mountains somewhere.
Yep.
And even though it's a massive job, it's a big solar farm. I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars worth of project that is. However, some of the work packages on offer are actually really applicable to small local businesses. And if I can just bring up here, site security, permanent security fencing, a range of higher, now even labor hire, even landscaping, CCTV, pole installation, camera and supply. So this is one live job that is actually on Gateway right now. Big project, but bite size, as you put it, local opportunities. And I guess if you're in the middle of, I don't know the Snowy Mountains that well, but it's actually preferable for that big contractor to get someone local who's on hand, who can support as required, rather than bringing someone in from Sydney or Melbourne or Canberra.
And particularly when you start looking at things like we're working towards a net zero economy, which means we're wanting to reduce those transit times or bringing people in or changing the structure of the local community, that's an extra bonus for them if they can find someone who is, as you say, local and in the area to be agile, on deck, ready to get to work. That's a win-win for everybody.
And this is one of my biggest surprises when I was actually going through the projects, just having a bit of a sticky beak is the entrepreneur in me all of a sudden thinks, oh, maybe I could start a business doing that. Or, like because there are thousands and thousands of opportunities, some big that would require a significant level of capability or engineering or a more mature business. However, there is no end of micro or small and medium sized opportunities that may be available out there. And so how many projects off the top of your head? I know I'm putting you on the spot. Have you got in the platform at the moment?
I think it was about 150 last time I checked, which was a couple of days ago. But we tend to have a general, rollover of 100 to 150 live projects. Then below each of those projects, there are work packages. So say for last year's figures where we had the 125 awarded, we had 2,500 work packages listed that were either packages on their own or under those bigger projects. So the exponential increase from projects to packages is quite big.
I just want to go through some of those numbers again. So in the last 40 years, over or just under $55 billion worth of contracts to Australian and New Zealand businesses, with hundreds of new suppliers, joining the platform every month. So this is where, the relationship between VBC and ICN, we're very lucky to have this partnership is, and we'll talk about it shortly, about how we are going to actively increase exposure now for our community to get to the table and win jobs. Now, one of the things that I'm always really interested about with veteran procurement is our positioning as a business and where we sit in that, that sales process. Now, one of the things I'm really fastidious about is veteran-owned businesses don't need a handout. We're not here for charity. We're not here for, a leg up. But what we're doing with ICN is raising the exposure and helping veteran community businesses get to the table. Once they get to the table, it's up to the individual business to bid and win the work on their skill and expertise. But what we really want to be able to share with the project managers and with the big companies is that being veteran-owned could be a critical point of difference when it comes to seeing who wins that job ultimately in the end. A lot of these big companies are actually looking for diversity in supply chain, SMEs, Australian industry capability as part of their measurables in how they deliver projects. Camille, can you share with us what you know about the ESG and diversity in supply chain CSR practices of big corporate? Can you give us an insight into the lens that they look at the segments in industry?
So a lot of them, it starts from the percentage Australian made, particularly now with the Future Made in Australia initiative. Companies are really looking to prove that they are supporting Australian businesses, and then looking at they're not using just the first person off the list or the same guy they used before, because also in a procurement process, you want to prove that you're using the best person for the job for the price that you're paying. So it's also that, hey, this factor might not be price. That's the top thing. It could be location. It could be a veteran mindset, which your businesses bring through. So it could be that they're looking for a specific quality in a business that will speak to what they want to produce. So businesses use a lot of these factors, and then in what they're looking for in the businesses, and then in reporting at the other end, either to their higher ups, or if they're procuring for government, to the state or federal government department that they are responsible to. So having those reporting guidelines and coming through our site once again in that process where we give them the businesses, we also say this one's accredited as a veteran business, an Australian made business. Those badging comes in from our site, which means it's very quick and easy for them to say X number of businesses came in satisfying these criteria, and then we also awarded to businesses that had that criteria. So they know even before they do the awarding that they're going to start hitting those goals.
And again, this is where we are, again, I don't want to say an advantage, but it's a critical point of difference. Again, I'm very hesitant to use that. I really want to position our community as being quality providers, that we are, equal to the best of doing the job. And I'm not going to go down that, we deserve a fair go, or, to be honest, I don't believe we deserve anything from our military service outside of respect for our service, but we don't deserve, I'll go back. I don't believe we're looking to say because we've served, we deserve an extra fringe benefit. But where we're positioning this is because of our service, because of the people, our experiences, our training, our problem solving, operational leadership ability. That could be the critical point of difference when a large company is weighing up why they should have a choice between two providers. So I think it's something that as a community that we can continue to develop in terms of enhancing our quality. And again, I'll use that term positioning statement of who we are in the community. But again, some of these bigger companies must report on ESG, like environmental, social, governance, diversity and supply chain, Australian industry capability, corporate social responsibility as part of their broader reporting, So why not lean forward and use your veteran-owned status to give you, that point of difference in winning this work? And this is now where the partnership between ICN and VBC comes in, because we're actually going to be proactively pushing the message around veteran-owned and why that is, a point of difference. So one of the things that we're doing on the Gateway tech platform is building a topic. This is a really great point of promotional content for the two businesses. Now, if you go to the homepage up the top of ICN, you'll see the topics there. And I believe there's 5 or 6 or something topics at the moment.
4 or
Here
5
we go.
at the
We've got
moment.
South manufacturing, South Australian defense, battery supply chain, and us. Okay, so it's really cool that we've got that profile. And through that topic, we're going to be able to share messages around why veteran businesses are important. But we're also going to be able to highlight or spotlight who is a veteran business to give them that extra lift in profiling through Gateway. Now, the way that's going to work is basically VBC will certify those businesses. Then we will share that certified list with Gateway. Then when the business registers through the standard means, join now on the Gateway platform, we will be able to do that data matching and create like a separate directory, a separate search function for our community. So this is really cool, like a platform with billions of dollars worth of contracts going through it every year. And we're going to have that elevated sense of spotlight in there. So Camille, coming back into the mechanics of how ICN works, can you share a little bit more about the people behind the platform? Where are they? What do they do? And just share a little bit of the industry focus versus the local focus, if I may.
Yeah. So there's a national office, which is where I'm based, which is where we build these bigger partnerships with people like yourself to ensure that we're highlighting the segments of the community we really want to get a little bit extra push. And we look at most of what the Gateway platform, and we look at it on a national level, so bigger national projects look through us, but also through our state offices. So every state and territory in Australia has an ICN office and a team of industry consultants and also specialists who then work on the team. So if you fill in your profile on Gateway and you are based in Perth, for example, then Ray, who is the head of our Perth office, will get a notification from the platform to say, hey, WA's got a new business, and he will put in the relevant industry consultant in touch with you. They will call you and say, hey, saw your profile started on Gateway. Let's have a chat. Let's go through it. They learn more about you and what you do, and then they'll probably come out and do a site visit. So that's how it trickles down from big site to the bottom. So most of the time we'll have they've had industry background specialty, and obviously in the states that they're in, they're well versed in the industries that are big in those states. Then they have a regional focus, so they know what jobs, say if we take a giant state like WA, they'll be aware of the projects that are in the north, up near Kalgoorlie, Broome, etc. And then they would be different from the sorts of projects we're looking at, say, for Albany or Perth or Fremantle, obviously, given the different dynamics. But they have people who are assigned to that. So they're also very aware of the project owners. They're in contact with them all the time. So they're the bridge between all of the suppliers that come into our platform and all of the project owners that might list on our platform at any one time. So they've got a bank of knowledge before they come to us, and from a various levels of either procurement, project ownership, or running businesses themselves, or working against government, either that's state, federal, or even local council governments, on how all of their processes work. So they kind of speak the language. They can be a little bit of a translator between the businesses and the procurement guys, and they know the words to use and what they're looking for before they even know what they're looking for.
I guess this is where one of the things I always talk about, leads solve a lot of problems for business owners. Then once you get leads and convert them, revenue solves a whole separate set of problems. Sometimes it's hard to feel, where are we going to get our leads coming from? Now, we can either go spend money on marketing and we go through branding, we can do ads. But what we've got here for those inclined businesses, and it's not for every business, there is a spoon-fed opportunity pathway here from ICN. Now, in terms of actual, ICN does have product tiers and different access. So there is, so like for me, I can literally, or you or anyone out there can literally just Google Gateway by ICN and look at the projects. You can see what's out there. You can see the kind of work orders that are on offer. But we've got a tiered layer that really demonstrates how much, not going to put it, accessibility, search functions, notifications, and also enhanced visibility within Gateway. What really surprised me that the lowest price point, $156 a year, like $13, $14 a month, to be able to have that public listed profile and advanced search features. So what you get with the VBC ICN pathway is the ability to be seen as a veteran business, but there are other products that you can walk into depending on the level of functionality that you to really drive that lead conversion for yourself. The most expensive one is about $120 a month or $1,500 a year. So depending on the size of your business, I think there's some really reasonable price points depending on the level of functionality and capability you need from the platform. But at the least, if you are certified by VBC and you register through ICN, we can at least get you seen on a veteran directory. What's next for Gateway? Where are you guys as a business in terms of the Gateway platform? How new is it in terms of its functionality?
It's pretty new in terms of that. Last year or the year before, obviously, we did do an update to Gateway, which helped with better searching of the projects and suppliers. But we have been using a taxonomy. So when you log in, you'll notice that you pick your capabilities by industry, because previously that's where the focus was on what industries are we. As we've diversified in Australia, and as companies diversify and work across industries, they've asked us to, how is a different way that I can show all of my products? So over the next year to 12 months, already you can see on the platform, we've incorporated a page called offerings, where you can start to list out your products, services, and facilities to a much more granular level under the capabilities and actually link them to a location, which previously we couldn't do. So this section is currently in testing phase. So it's very, very new. And we're asking businesses to come in and they've got their old listing or their existing listings to actually update into the new system so we can see how that's working, whether we've got it right. And the end game is that we will then, our supplier and project search will change to be a lot more location and capability focused. So you can actually get to the location where a particular facility is. At the moment, it's a little bit more wider on where the main business functions happen, and then you have to look for that. But in the search, you should be able to find it. So it's going to actually benefit our small and medium businesses a whole lot more, because in those searches for the very granular detail and the very specific location, they're going to come up better than they even do now. They do. As a small business, you have 1 or 2 locations, so you're pretty good. But in the new thing, it'll be that granular on your actual capabilities and your products that you'll see enhancements, you'll see better visibility in searches, and that search is going to come in within the next 12 to 18 months, but there's a little bit of more work and development. But Gateway's under development all the time. Suppliers and project owners come to us saying, I need this, or I can't see that. How do we get this working on the site? And we have some fantastic IT people who, a lot of what they do, I do not understand as we go, being a comms person, but I do know that it's a lot of very magic that the site does update, and we find how we can help businesses get out there as quickly as possible and do what they need to do with the platform as quickly as possible.
One of the things I love in business is the process of systemizing, automating, and delegating, right? And a quick narrative around that is systemize, which is great process, automate, which is use technology, to its best, and then delegate is how do people fit into that mix. This is where again, this combination between the platform and the people come together, with this relationship. AI, bit of a buzzword, but are you guys using AI as part of the tech matching process?
It is in the, I've been assured it's in the background that is part of that matching in part of the new system. It actually helps group like products together. So if you're searching for, let's say, flooring, which is a very big, broad term, it will actually start to seek out tiles, carpeting, underlay, all of those bits and things that go along under that umbrella of flooring that then can pull in those businesses. So it works pretty well at the moment under that. But it'll mean that if you did industrial flooring and you did automotive flooring and you do residential flooring or office fit outs, all of those will get gathered a lot better than they do at the moment, given that they're disparate industries. In our current taxonomy, in the new one, they will pull a lot more. You've got a greater chance of being found because that is working in the background. So, AI is a great thing and everybody's like, just employ it, but you have to deploy it properly in the appropriate manner. And at the moment, that's where it's sitting in our platform.
And this is where, the golden story about veteran-owned businesses is always hey, is a veteran-owned business going back into defense capability? Is there a veteran-owned business there that engineers a widget that goes into a plane or something like that? They're the great stories. However, the reality is 99% of our community is not doing that. You mentioned office supplies. Literally just this week, we onboarded a new veteran-owned business in Perth, Access Office Industries. Like that's literally what they do. So I think as a community, we need to take off our own blinkers in terms of who we are, because we are every business. We are every and any business out there, and it's really hard to define. I always get told, like, what kind of businesses are in your community? It's like it could be anything. Like literally, could be anything. Camille, I might look to wrap a little bit and just to come over a couple of key points. First of all, I just want to say thanks to ICN and the team for really getting it, for really understanding that as a community, we're not here looking for handouts or charity. We're just looking for a seat at the table, and then we can show the people we are behind our businesses to be our point of difference. Now, the point that we are quality providers, and thank you for helping us enhance who we are as our own segment and industry. But there are literally businesses out there right now looking for veteran-owned businesses. They are actually literally looking for our community. And sometimes as a small business owner, it can be a little bit daunting or intimidating, or we just don't know how to raise our exposure, to put our head above the parapet, so to speak, so that people can actually find us. And this is a really simple way for a veteran-owned business to get that exposure, to get yourself at least into the game. Gateway and ICN have the audience. They have the projects, billions of dollars of big projects, thousands of individual work orders, which might surprise you to what could be applicable, not only in your area, but within your remit. So what's VBC's role in this? We do a very simple certification process to prove to Gateway, ICN, and Corporate Australia that you are actually veteran-owned, that you are actually a veteran, part of the veteran business community. Once we do that, share that information with Gateway, and then we're working with Gateway together to not only spotlight, but collectively to share the message around why it's important to buy, veteran-owned, and what we can do, that as a community to support and develop each other. Look, to be honest, I just want to say thanks again to Gateway. Camille, have you got any points you'd like to share with us before we wrap up?
I think that the best thing I can say to you is get on and have a look at it. So it's a really simple, easy process to sign in. You can come in on a free subscription to check us out, but you obviously get a little bit more visibility once you hit our next tier. And as you said, that's only $156 a year. Get into the platform, have a look at what you can showcase about your business, and also the notifications you can set up, because that really opens people's eyes onto what they can get notified about. And once you start seeing those notifications roll through, and also have a little stroll through the site, do a few searches for what your keywords would be if people were trying to look for you, and you can see the other sorts of businesses that are probably the same size as yours.
Yeah.
They're out there on the platform already, and you could be on there right next to them in the search function.
Yeah, and we're going to throw down some case studies into the show notes of actual veteran-owned businesses that are winning work, that have won great contracts with big companies through this relationship with the platform. That's not quite all. On the 23rd of April, within our Lunch and a Mess series, we've been very grateful to have Karen Lenton from the ICN team volunteer to come and talk to our audience and do a Q&A. Now, that will be at 1 p.m. on Wednesday, the 23rd of April, just one day before Kapyong Day and 2 days before Anzac Day. So it's an excellent opportunity for you to literally get on, talk to someone from ICN headquarters and really unpack where the gateway is right for your business. But the notifications thing, get in there and just get in there, have a sticky beak around. Have a look at the kind of projects. You can filter them very easily without signing up or anything in your area. Have a look at the work orders and have a sticky beak to see, is there an opportunity that might be fit for purpose for your business? If it is, jump in on register on the Gateway platform. Super simple. Hit the join here button. Takes you about 10, 15 minutes. That information is then vetted in the back end and we can start getting some of the process sorted. Make sure you're registered with the Veteran Business Community as a certified business. That way we can do the enhanced spotlighting for what you do. All of the clicks and all of that and all of the links will be below in the show notes. Camille, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on, Pete.
No, a real pleasure. So let's call it a wrap there. I'm just going to summarize by saying, as a veteran business owner, there's actually large corporates out there looking for you right now. You should be proud of your status in terms of what you've done in your career, because it is or could be that critical point of difference that might just help you win that work. So have a great day, everybody. Pete Liston, out. If you're still here, then let's have a quick demo. We've finished up the podcast bit for those on audio, but for those on video or YouTube, let's just have a quick look at the platform itself and just have a quick sticky beak through. So what I've got here is, am I sharing the right screen first of all? Can you see Gateway?
Yes,
Perfect. So this is straight up. This is straight up Gateway homepage. You'll see at the top here, explore topics. We've got our veteran businesses up here and we're working together to flesh out a little bit more content. But again, this is really what we're trying to do in terms of sharing that message around, veteran owned and create more demand for us as a community, as an industry, as a segment itself. Now, really simple projects and suppliers here. I'm just going to pick something at random here. Tasmania. What do we got in Tasmania? 21 projects, nearly 300 work opportunities. I'm just going to scroll, and if I can hit something that's something here. Here we go. What's this one? Moogs supplier. Again, totally random. But what you can see here is you've got the overview of the project, and then we can come down to the actual work packages. Supply chain program. Let me just go to one I prepared a little bit earlier. The Goulburn River Solar Farm. What you can see here is, again, an overview of the platform. Upper Hunter. I actually thought it was down in South Australia. I've got no idea where it is. 23 work packages. Now let's have a look at some of these. Alcohol and drug testing. Surely there's an old warrant officer or sergeant major out there that might have a small little business doing, alcohol and drug testing. What a better way to rekindle your love of ping and diggers than getting out there and doing some drug testing on site. But some of these jobs are really functional. And the other thing with this
project is at the top, if you're looking down, you're not quite sure, at the top in the contact details, Dusko is actually an ICN industry manager on the right-hand side. So he's not the DT infrastructure person, he's an ICN primary contact. So if you've got any kind of not sure about it, or you want to check in on the work package, you can call or send Dusko an email and he will be the one assigned to that project that can tell you more about it and also get to know more about your business. If you're in the upper hunter, he's probably going to be your contact as well. So that's all of the information on the page, even if you like, oh, I want to put one in, but I'm not sure that this is exactly me, then the project, it's all very transparent. This is the person who you need to contact to find out more about it.
And one of the things you'll find is, like, again, you've got Dusko's details here. You've got the ability, within reason, to create a relationship with him and get him to personally understand what you're about. Now, I know, Dusko, we're looking to do some work with the Hunter Defense Industry Networking Group up there, because, again, each of these local areas is really driving their own self-interest. And the Hunter in particular has, base up there, a really big hub, particularly for fighter jet and Air Force. But this one's not a defense one. This is a civil job, but let's, like, Merriwa, not too far from Newcastle up there. As we can see, scrolling through, there is things here that I reckon even I could do in my business. So
Exactly.
Like landscaping, I used to be a landscaper in a former life, but we've got veteran businesses that are doing this. I know for a fact right now that we've got probably 10 or 20 veteran-owned businesses that are doing these things right now. So you can search your local area. Now let's just go back to
And this is a
literally
public
have a
search.
play.
Like, you're not logged in at the moment, so anybody can search the site for projects and suppliers. And there are once you've logged in, there's a slight change to what shows up, but in a public search, everything's there. So
This
here's pricing.
literally have a sticky beat. Get in there and have a look. Now, again, to get more detail, you get in there and sign up and join now. And these are some of the packages we see on the screen. We will help you get a exposure even under the free portal. However, if you want to use more of the detailed search notifications, things like that, etc., that's where, for like $10 a month or just over $10 a month, you move up that next level. Camille, did you want to share anything from your end that we might not be able to see?
I can share a little bit about what the dashboard would look like once you're logged in.
Perfect.
Off our ICN dashboard. Let me figure
Brilliant.
out.
The screen's yours.
Correct. Yes, that's it. Make sure I've got the correct screen. Otherwise I'll show the wrong thing. So this is our platform, as you've seen it with Pete. But at the other end here, this is once you log in. So this is the dashboard that comes in for everybody. You once again have your projects and suppliers search inside, but then you've got all of this other capability. So on your actual dashboard, you can see a risk rating if they've applied that for it. Obviously, ours is a bit out from what we do, but you can also see the number of times you were listed in a search and the number of times your profile was viewed by a prospective customer. So we're looking at how do we get a little bit more information on those statistics for our subscribers. That's also something that we're hoping to implement. But we have system messages which will tell you if something's come online. We also have Exchange. So Exchange is currently for our premium members, but you can get access for the preparing for the net zero. There are other things coming online that other tiers in our paid subscription levels will have access to over time. So that's programs to help businesses with pitching, with business development, financial analysis, tendering and bid writing. So there's a lot of other things we're doing to try and help businesses grow and become competitive against even international ones coming in against us. So you can see what level we're on. We're in the ACT, but down here you've got all of the EOIs and applications that you've put in. Don't know what's in yet. We haven't in. So, but there's EOIs that you've submitted, so you can see all of that we've put in. You can see the market channel. So obviously we've got SA Defence. Veteran Business will also show up if you're listed as one of them. Documentations, all of your certifications and accreditations. And then our higher paid tiers have access to the capability statements and the quad charts. So they're the best ways we're going to get out and talk about businesses, and that all draws from the information that you've put into your business profile. So I'll quickly push through this because it's not exciting, but business details, other names, all of your ABN, the general stuff that you'd want in it. But then you get to write a summary about your business if it clicks. And this is where you describe what you do. Don't know why my internet is not loving me today. This is where you describe what you do, full description, turnover, number of employees, and percentage of Australian and New Zealand employees, because that's also a criteria. Apprentices, trainees, all of that. Previous projects, key partners. Now, capabilities is on our current search system. So you can see you can search by industry. These are all of the industries: health, IT, land and agriculture. This is what I mean. There's a whole lot of industries that a lot of people don't realize that we cover in here. So these are what we're currently listed against. So we're obviously not in construction, but this is us setting up profiles, and you can get down to a more granular level of what kind of buildings, etc. you do. And then in the products and services side, talk about being a retailer, wholesaler, importer, exporter, all of this information. Once again, leads to how your profile shows up, products and services, facilities and equipment. This is all currently what you will be searched against. Our new system, which in the lunch on the 23rd of April, Karen will probably take you through a little bit more than this one. But this is where we get a lot more granular into our offering. So an offering is a product, a service, or a facility. So you can see we've got things like business development, right up to project management. Well, that's a lot of what we do. But you can also have a capability. And so under construction, have offerings and locations underneath it. So you see under the capability of construction, we've got gas turbine in one location. We only have one location in our ICN platform. So all of these are going to be linked across, which is how we're going to improve those searches into the future. So this is in preview at the moment, but we're really looking for people to have a go at it. So if you're new to the platform, you can come in and play around with it, but you will need to fill out all the other sections as we go. Locations, contacts, and then the notification preferences. The other item, this is where the magic happens, where you select your contact from among the contacts in your business, and you start to say, what would I like to get notified of? So these are our general ICN information, your state-based information, and then the type of major projects you want in the regions, etc., from your sectors and capabilities. So you can search for the ones that even you aren't listed against. You can say, hey, I haven't currently got IT listed as one of my projects, but I want to expand into it. I want notifications so I can see what the projects are asking for. So you can literally get notifications for every state and territory, or just your state if you want. So that's a quick blow through on what you can see in the back end. But it really is so that when you show up in a search, maybe I can find our profile in here.
What's really cool about this, Camille, as I'm looking here is it's like a micro SEO project. You know, like the more that we share, the more that we can contribute into the platform, the easier it's going to be for whether it be logarithmic AI matches, or even for the industry consultants to be able to find you. So, and this stuff doesn't look very complex to fill out. You know, an hour or two's investment to populate the platform will get you a long way in not only your searchability, but what you can find out and get notified for what jobs are out there. Like, this is brilliant.
Yeah, so this is a premium profile. Our top level will have the pictures and all of this, your contact details, any pictures you want to add in, accreditations for anything, products and services, locations, etc. And then as we progress, we're hoping that there will be an icon here that then will then designate you as a veteran business. So it'll be very quick and easy to see that you are actually in that listing, but that's in the future pipeline as well. But this is the premium ones. If you go into even our like be seen, our lowest paid level will show up in searches. It's not going to show up with industry capability because it's all of us. But see, here's a be seen. I knew there was one that comes up with us. And you'll see that there's still a decent amount of information. So you can still see the overview that would be in their back end. Their contact details are in here, so people can still find you and know what you do. But it's really key that you put the information in your profile.
Perfect. Camille, thanks very much.
Well,
23rd of April, 1 p.m. Sydney time. The details will be below. Looking forward to meeting with Karen from ICN headquarters and for a Q&A, and let's get people out there. Let's get people with opportunities.
bring all your questions. Karen is very well versed and she'll answer all of them. I know she will.
Fantastic. Let's wrap again. Thank you to ICN, yourself, for your time today, and have a lovely day. Thanks, Camille. Take care.